Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2021 the Waste Management Phoenix Open. My sleepers, fades, projections, everything that you are going to need before you lock those lineups in to hopefully get the optimal lineup and also for your betting perspective. I thank you very much. If you are new to the show, give me 10 minutes. I think I can help out your lineups and make you a little better. And if you are one of my subscribers, I appreciate you greatly to keep tuning in, and I thank you. All right, let's get into this. So real quick, I just want to bring up a few things before we get into the picks. I am leveraging some comp courses. I mentioned this, of course, in the previous shows, and I just wanted to show which courses it is that I am looking at so you understand when I talk about the comp courses, why. And of course, they're just good representations if they've had success, of course, at TPC Scottsdale, but also had success here. It's just another indicator that, you know, hopefully we're picking the right guys. All right. On that note, when I ran the models and had my key stat categories, which you'll see up here, and it's weighted here over 24 rounds, there were some other guys that popped up other than the guys that I picked so far in the top kind of 15 plays. And one is Michael Thompson, Charlie Hoffman, Luke List. They also popped up under elite ball strikers. So, of course, they are going to be in my sleeper picks. They're a little bit above 7,000, but I believe in this tournament that we don't need to really go down too low. You know, I think the lowest that I will be going down is 6,600, and we'll talk about who's there and why they got a great value. All right. So on that note, let's jump out and let's go look at some of these guys in a little more detail. The first one I want to talk about is the Luke List. His tournament history here is, you know, kind of blah. Out of, you know, 5 events that's showing, he's made the cut twice, best of the top 25. What I do like about Luke is what he's been doing recently. Also, I'm also going on a narrative, and it is a pure narrative, that if Siwoo Kim can win recently with about the same exact game as Luke List, that, hey, Luke's due. And there's some other reasons why I think Luke could be due for a win here. And let's talk about why. It is not because he's a good putter. That's definitely not it. But what it is that he's elite from tee to green and shows that over his 162 events. But also what I like, and it comes up here, that's just why I'm here, you know, 2018, he had a 24th. That's not the big point, but it was already up. But that is one of the comps, so it'll stop us from going there. But what I thought was interesting was that he did win here back in, not here, but won the Korn Ferry Challenge back in June. And I'm leveraging Fantasy National here is where I do a lot of my analytics and diving into the data. I recommend that if you are also someone that likes to get into the details and likes to look at a few different ways, check out Fantasy National Golf Club. You can get a discount right now. I don't have the code for me, but working on that. But Pat Mayo does. So if you type in, I believe, just Mayo, you can get a 20% off. Okay, enough about the plug. And what I thought was interesting, you're going to see here that they're saying that this took place at TPC Scottsdale. That is incorrect. That tournament actually took place at TPC Sawgrass. So just want to clarify that. Now, there is a lot of similarities on the courses, hence I'm using the players, TPC Sawgrass, as a comp course. But I just want to note he won there 6 months ago, but he can do very well on these kind of tracks. And even to the point that he beat out Will Zalatoris in that tournament. And Will is at $9,000 and Mr. Luke List is at 7,200. So I just want to make that a point. I'm not saying Luke's a better player than Will Z. We don't know exactly what Will Zalatoris is going to be. What we've seen has been very, very promising. But we also, like I said, I think Luke's a great player. I think he's just, you know, it's a little between the ears, and it's if the putter's hot. Also, you got to remember that Luke had a nice 6 under on the final day Sunday on a very tough track, of course, the South Course at Torrey Pines. So just note to self, I think he's in really good form, good headspace. That's part of the reasoning why I'm going with Luke List. All right, let's go look at some other stuff with Luke. All right. So I already looked at WGC, Sanderson Farms. So he's had 2 missed cuts here recently, but he did have a 2nd place at Sanderson Farms, which is the CC of Jackson, Country Club of Jackson, and that's a positive. He's never made the tour, and I don't know, has he played Valspar? Yeah, he's played Valspar twice. I'm sorry, he played it 3 times, missed a cut once, but had pretty good finishes the other 2 times. It is a little bit in the history, but it is just good to note. We already know he had a positive at WGC St. Jude. And the players, the most recent, he's played her 3 times, missed a cut twice, but he did have a 56 back in 2019. So all said and done, I think Luke is a live play as you are getting down and you need someone down in that range of, 7,000s, low 7,000s. He's someone that I'm looking at. All right. Let's get rid of that and let's go to Michael Thompson. So I'm sure if you've never heard of Michael Thompson before, you've heard of him recently as he has been popping up. So recent results, he's been doing amazing. Had that T5 just recently and actually had a chance at the American Express on Sunday to win the thing. Then just had a couple blow up holes and that kind of derailed him. His past history here has not been great. He's, 2 out of 4. This is back. Been a while since he played. But what I do like about Michael Thompson is that he does like Bermuda. And I am looking for guys that are in good recent form, can putt on Bermuda, which I know Luke's a little different. He's recent form, but has on some certain tracks. I think there's some correlation there. That is kind of the things that I'm focusing on. If we pull up, I don't know if he has a lot. Let's take a look. So Sanderson Farms played here 3 times. He missed the cut in 2019. Best finish was the 20th. If we look at the Tour Championship, he's never made it there. What about Valspar? Valspar played it 4 times. Missed cut the last 2. What about the players? Had a 70th in 2019 and WGC St. Jude. So he had a 57th there in this past, we'll say, end of summer, August timeframe. But I do like Michael Thompson. Again, he's around the $7,200 price tag. I'd recommend taking a gander at him. Sebastian Munoz. So he's only played here once, had a T47. Some people are starting to get off him a little bit, thinking that we've seen his better, saw his best days. I don't agree 100% with that. Let's go take a look. What I am excited about is that where he has struggled is with the putter, but he is positive on Bermuda, so that's good to know. If you look over the life of his career, from everything, he's been solid. He's had a little bit of falter on his total shot game, but that's been a little bit on the putter. And if you watch Sebastian Munoz, and I've said this before, what I like about him is he's not a putter that tries to dive the ball in the hole. He is a putter that he is trying to either make that putt or it's going 3 feet by. And I like that. I like guys. That's why you'll see Sebastian get on the birdie streaks and, score because the guy is aggressive with the putter. And we also got to look. I mean, if you just take a look back, don't forget what this guy's done. So in the FedEx playoffs, which is not that long ago, the guy was, kicking butt in a crazy field on tougher tracks, did well at the no-cut events at the CJ Cup and the Zozo, had a 19th at the Master, the Tournament of Champions, which, again, smaller field, but, he ended up above the middle of the pack there. And then the Sony, he kind of faltered a little bit, but, he still made the cut. I think what people got nervous is he missed the cut here twice, really had a bad showing here at the RSM. But again, I think, you can't go off 1 or 2. We're going to go, if we look over the past year of his career, I think it's someone that, you got to stick with. And you can see his ownership level, at the Sony was really high and he kind of burned some guys. So I'm guessing, his ownership level is going to be a little bit lower. I don't think it's going to be like, minuscule, but I think, when you see Munoz at this price, I think you got to play him. And that's my plan. Who else we want to talk about? Charlie Hoffman. So you probably heard me earlier on, I think in my preview show or whatever it was, that I wasn't going to go near Charlie Hoffman, but I have found out recently that the second withdrawal was not a physical thing. He wasn't playing that well. They had to shut down for the weather. I think he had a few holes left. He decided, hey, you know what? I'm not going to go back, sit around here all day and then go back and play a few holes and I can't make the cut. So that's why he withdrew. The positives is Charlie Hoffman is actually sponsored by Waste Management. So that's one thing. I don't think he's just going to withdraw. That's going to be an issue with the whole sponsorship thing. So you're solid there. And then if we look at his recent, if you take away the 2 withdrawals, he's had some decent recent results. He's had great form here. He likes playing at this course. He's made the cut every time. His best was a 20th in 2019. And then if we dive a little more into Charlie, is that he is positive on Bermuda. You know, pretty much green in the 3 major categories, just around the green, he can struggle. And it really comes down to the putter. He can get a hot putter, as you see here. And as you see already at the Sanderson Farms, one of the comp courses that, you know, I'm looking at, he had a 6th there in October. If we look at the Tour Championship, you know, he's played it twice. It's a while ago. And again, you got to remember it's a field of 40. So kind of middle of the pack there, but hey, he's made it there. Valspar, he had an 18th. Back in 2019, and some decent finishes on that course, which is, again, I think a very similar course. The Players, not so good recently, but, you know, he's played it quite a few times. I'd say over, if you take that body of work at the Players, you know, he's either a 30th or he misses the cut. So there you go. And then WGC St. Jude, he had a 53rd. So again, I was going to be kind of off Hoffman, but I think when I kind of found out that, you know, from a price perspective, his ownership perspective, and knowing that, you know, it's not an injury, why he withdrew this last time, you know, I'm going to be playing a little bit of Charlie Hoffman. I think he can gain some leverage on the field. I think a lot of people will see those two WDs and go nowhere near him. All right, what else? Stuart Sink. So his tournament history here has been you know, I wouldn't say anything too grand, but he's had great recent form. Of course, he had a couple miscuts. So I think it's gotten him off. You know, some people might stay off for those reasons. If we dive into Stewart, let me see where he is at here. Okay, here we go. He is positive on Bermuda. I like to see that. It's off the tee, which is kind of funny. He's actually, I call him kind of sneaky long for his age. He, you know, he almost hits it 300. You know, with ease. So I don't think that's a bad thing. Of course, he had the win at the Safeway not too long ago. He's had some really good recent form. Had that little, you know, down stint that I mentioned. And then has, you know, showed form again. So again, for the price. He also had a 12th at Sanderson Farms, which I think is, again, a great comp course to look at. The Tour Championship, never made it there. Let's see about Valspar. Missed the cut in 2019, but has made the cut in prior years. Best finish with a 27th. What about the Players? Not so good at the Players. It's been a little while, but yeah, so we can't really, won't give that as a check mark, and never play a WC St. Jude. But everything I see, and I think Stewart could do well here. I am going to be playing him. And I think our last but not least, Doc Redman. So Doc, and I don't think this was any shocker. I don't, you know, he's a great player. He's, you know, just recent results is why I think his price tag is showing this. He has played here once, had a T34, but the recent, you know, kind of miscuts is what's got people off. But if you, you know, really take a step back and dive into Doc, you know, yep, the putter is just one of his, you know, not a strong suit, but he can get hot with the putter, which he showed here, you know, even at the Houston Open, funny enough, got hot with the putter. And then the one area he usually gains, he faltered, but he's had 4. So out of his, I think what, 44 events, he's did 5th or better 4 times. Of course, he had the 2nd place at the Rocket Mortgage, and then he rattled off within a, you know, a few month period at the Wyndham, which is not a bad comp course for this. He had a 3rd at the Safeway. He had a 3rd, 4th. He had a, you know, a Bermuda, which is Bermuda Greens. So there's some similarities at that course. You know, we don't have a lot of shot gain information, but I watched that. It was just, you know, couldn't make a few putts when he needed to. So for 6,600, I think Doc's the best value. I pretty crazy that he's, you know, at that price tag. And you can see his ownership, you know, people starting to fall off him. I think because of his price and also with, you know, guys like me out there talking about him, that his ownership is going to be higher. All right. So with that said, let's go in then to the sleepers. As you can already see. So if I had to put him in ranking, the number one guy that I'd play at this kind of range is Luke List. I really like a lot of things, and I have him on an outright bet to win. Of course, you know, it's good odds. It's a long shot, but again, I'm going with the narrative. If Si Woo can do it, why not Luke List? Doc Redman, we already said, probably one of the best values on the board. An elite ball striker, off the tee approach where he struggles with the putter. So if he can just be neutral with the putter, you know, you can have a good weekend. Stuart Sink, great recent form, good putter on Bermuda, like his game for the price. Michael Thompson's been showing us a lot. He just keeps popping up there. Also, I don't know if he was positive on Bermuda. I forgot now on his splits, but the guy, like I said, just from recent form and his, you know, decent form here. Sebastian Munoz, I think is a pretty good value. Again, he's back down to the low 7,000s. I think some people are off him, thinking, we've seen his best days. I don't agree. I think the guy can still pop up at any time and get a top 5, top 10 finish. And then, of course, Charlie Hoffman. How could you not pick him with that face and that waste management shirt? Just had to put that picture on there. But the Hoff, I think, is alive and well, and someone that I'll be playing. All right, let's get into my fades. So just real quickly, Rory, I'm fading just for a couple reasons. It's not because of his ownership right now. His projected ownership, I think, might be the lowest out of the 10,000 price tag guys. But I like Rory a lot. I like his game, but he just doesn't seem to have the drive or the want. It's also his first time playing here. I'm not saying that's a huge deal. There's little reasons to that. Like you might not know some things. I just know if his mind is going to be in it. Now, you could also go the narrative of, hey, he hasn't been playing well because he likes to have the fans pumping up. There is going to be fans here. Of course, it's a small percent. I think like 5,000 to 7,000 per day. So who knows? Maybe that kicks him and he goes and has a great tournament. Everything should tell you he won the Players, which is a good comp course. The guy's got an amazing game. But when I keep watching him on Sundays, and this has been for a long time now, probably since he, boat raced at the Players, I think, which might be his last victory. The putter just isn't there. So, until I kind of start seeing some more life with that, I'd rather pivot to Rahm. I don't care if his ownership's a little higher. If I'm up at that price tag, I want the guy that's going to score. Same with JT. I'm going a little bit with, I think there could be still, I think he's got some distractions. I'm not sure where his head's at. He's got a pretty decent course history here. I think he's played here 7 times and no reason why he can't do well here, but I'm just good. I've got to kind of make my stands, and I'd rather go with Xander Schauffele, who I think, is just showing us a little more. Corey Connors, this is purely, he's at 17% projected ownership and his price is like almost 9,000. So I'll find some other plays. I want guys around the green putting that can do it. I don't need, you don't have to be elite, off the tee here. And that's I think one of Corey's strongest things is if you got to hit fairways, he's your guy. He's also good on approach. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'd rather kind of pivot to some other guys. Bubba Watson. So I just think Bubba's game, we just don't know where it's at. So we knew it was really good. And then, we saw him at the Masters. And then since then we haven't seen him, but his 2 recent outings, I'm not seeing what he, was doing. He's got a great course history here, hence why his ownership and price is what it is. So for that reason, I am fading. And then Matthew Wolff, is there anything to say on this? Again, his game's broken. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's physical. I don't know what's going on, but I just will not be playing any Matthew Wolff until I start to see some signs of life, and I just haven't seen it. And then on that ownership projection, just so you can get a good understanding, I just kind of took the area that was the highest, below Russ Henley. Really wasn't anybody that was like, oh, wow, don't play him because he's so highly owned. But I'll just call out like Will Z, pretty highly owned. I'm on him too. I think he's a good play. 9K, I think that's a little pricey. But just everything he's showing, the guy looks for real. Daniel Berger is the highest owned guy, but is one of the picks that I'm looking at. Kind of amazing. If you want to make a pivot, you can go to Hideki, who is, half the ownership projection and, is this, a couple $100 more. But also, I think what everybody's seeing, what I'm seeing is from Hideki that who knows? He's won here twice in a row. He's got a great track history here. But the things that Hideki typically does, with the ball striking has not been there. And he's not that good of a putter. He had a little spurt there where he started to putt a little better and then kind of fell back. So with the top guys, as I already kind of mentioned, Rahm is the highest or projected to be the highest owned. Next is, JT. So kind of like my move is I'm going with Schauffele. I like Webb. So that's kind of the guys that I'm going to go with, kind of not saying super pivots, but the guys that I'm going to be leaning toward when I'm paying up at that price. I also like Russ Henley, who is a little higher owned down here. I already said Bubba, again, 8,500, just not seeing it, kind of higher ownership. And then is Corey Connors. Do I have him on here? Maybe he didn't show up, but he was at 17. Sorry, I thought he was on here. Just verifying. I can't believe it. I thought he was on here. He's at 17% ownership right now, just so you know, again. And I guess I was off on the price. I thought he was like 9K, but he must be lower than 8,200. But again, I'm going to pivot from that. And that's it. If something else pops up, I didn't talk about weather or anything because right now everything looks great. Gonna be awesome weather there. So hopefully that holds true. There's gonna be fans. It should be an exciting tournament to watch. It should be some good scoring. So yeah, super excited. And if you are liking what I'm doing, just click the like button. If you know anyone else that might be interested in checking this out, if you share it, I would appreciate it greatly. Any questions over the weekend, or if you're in between guys, or anything you would like to ask, hit me up on the Twitter sphere at DFS Golf Guru, or send me a comment on YouTube. I check them both. And if you are new, I would greatly appreciate it if you think what you like what you're seeing. If you'd subscribe, hit the notification button. And I do at least 3 shows a week. I also do some DFS Golf 101 stuff, or I did put out a recent show on consecutive birdie streaks. I'd highly recommend you check that out, especially if you do Showdown. I just put that out last week. And I'm going to be putting out a new one for the guys that have been hitting the bogey free bonus. I think that'll be interesting. So that's it. All the best of luck to us. And thank you so much for attending and for subscribing for the guys that are already and gals that are with us. And appreciate it greatly. All right. Take care.